Hello! Today's stories come from r/EntitledParents. We've got 4 stories starting with my parents threw fake money at me when I exposed their blatant theft to the rest of the family. This happened in 2015. I was 18 and about to move out on my own. Prior to this, I had a savings account my parents had helped me set up, and I'd been putting money into it any way I could for 3 years. Birthday money, odd jobs, part-time, after-school job washing dishes, all that stuff. And I'd managed to get a few thousand into it. I'd really been wanting to move out because I had 2 little brothers that absolutely drive me up the wall. My parents loved making me the live-in babysitter whenever I wasn't working, which is why I used the excuse to work as much as I could. When the time came that I wanted to move out, my parents said they wanted me to stay because they needed my help and were wanting me to start paying rent to help with bills. But I held my ground that I wanted to live on my own. I'd already paid the deposit and first month's rent on an apartment without telling them, and by that point, I had a local full-time job, so I was set to move out after about another month. So when they found that out, they freaked and told me to get out that day if I wanted to be on my own so bad. I packed what I could and left to go to my aunt and uncle's house. It was a 4-mile ride with a bicycle that I had a small trailer hooked to. When I told my aunt and uncle what had happened, they were very angry and took me in right away. A couple days later, I went to withdraw all the money from my account and saw that it was empty. My parents had come in the day prior and cleaned it out. All the bank could do was give me a balance statement saying so. Because my parents were co-signers on the account, that meant they had access to the money too. I was livid and immediately told my aunt and uncle as soon as I could. They were beyond angry too. Then my aunt got an idea and started calling up other people in the family to tell them what my parents had done. It wasn't long before the crap had hit the fan. My other aunts and uncles, cousins, and grandparents were all furious and let my parents have it. I don't know what kind of excuses my parents gave them, but it didn't work. The next time I saw my parents, they showed up to my aunt and uncle's house to yell at me. When they saw me, my mother threw some money at me and called me an ungrateful brat for telling everyone. My aunt then said it was her who told everyone, not me. I looked at the money they'd thrown, and it was just some kid play money my little brothers had. I asked where the real money was, and my parents said they'd already used it to pay off a credit card. I said I wanted the money they stole back for real, but they refused and said it was their right to take it since they'd opened the account for me and I still have a job. My expenses at the moment were fine because my next paycheck was deposited in a new account, and I was able to save until the apartment was ready. But my parents took a lot of heat from my aunt and uncle until they left. My cousin also used to babysit for my parents when I was busy, and she not only refused to do so again after what they did, but told me she put out the word to other teen babysitters on social media to avoid my parents because they were thieves. By the time I was living in my apartment, my parents finally couldn't take the social stigma anymore and met me to compromise. They said they couldn't pay me back all at once and asked for a payment plan. I had the exact number of the amount they'd stolen and said I wanted it all back. They actually tried to haggle me down to half the total, but I refused to anything but the full amount. They reluctantly agreed and gave me $200 a month in cash for 2 years before it was all paid back. Now I barely ever see my parents, let alone speak to them. And they clearly still blame me for what happened too, because their reputation in the family never recovered. But I don't care. They were thieves that paid the piper. Wow, I can't even imagine. This is some real r/raised by narcissists material here. Borrowing, maybe even having a finance discussion with your oldest, I could see that, but not stealing their wages from work. Ideally, our children should never have to be exposed to worrying about money until adulthood, but that's a luxury not everyone gets. So do you think it's money problems or are they just entitled? OP gives us a clue in this comment. OP. The bulk of my family are very good people. My parents can be best described as the black sheeps because of the toxic way they treated people. Can't say I'm surprised by that. On to the next one. Entitled parent has their daughter swimming naked at a public pool. To start off, I go swimming at my local rec center, which is pretty popular. I also mainly swim underwater because I find it much easier than holding myself up. This is important. This happened a few days ago. I was just chilling in the deep end, swimming underwater like usual. About 20 feet away, in the not-so-deep area, I thought I saw a small butt. Whatever, I've seen a lot of skin-colored suits. I come up for air, and then when I look ahead, I go, holy crap, there's actually a naked child in this pool. I start feeling awkward, so I turn back around and just stand there for a bit. After a bit, I just go back to swimming. After about 30 seconds underwater, I feel myself getting pulled up, so I just push myself up to the surface. Now entered entitled mom. What the hell are you doing? What? You're looking at my child's parts. She's only 5, you prevert. I'm sorry? I saw you look at her a few minutes ago, then you went underwater. Oh, I assume you were the mother of that naked girl? So, you admit it, you did look at her. On accident, when I came up for air, I turned around. I then got pushed underwater. She actually held me down for a bit. Then, someone jumps in the water next to me and I get pulled out. I then start hearing her screaming that she was attacked and violated and other stuff like that. For the record, I wasn't really in danger, mostly because I was only under for about 3 to 5 seconds. Anyways, time to enter the absolute fracking legend lifeguard. Ma'am, why were you holding this man underwater? He is a peeper. He was looking at my daughter while she was naked. I'm sorry, naked? From what I've seen, he hasn't left the pool. Well, sure he didn't, but he went underwater while my daughter was naked. So I tried to explain. Well, yeah, because I really only swim underwater. I can't even see that far underwater. It gets foggy. The lifeguard was all like, wait, is your daughter in the pool? Well, yes. Why does that even fracking matter? He's staring at her. No need for language, but please explain why your daughter is naked in the pool. Because she doesn't like swimsuits, but it doesn't matter. Call the police and have this boy arrested. Excuse me, sir, but can I hear your side of this story? So then I started to explain. Well, I was swimming underwater, and when I came up for air, I saw a naked child in the pool about 20 feet away. I just turned around and after a minute or two went back under. 30 seconds later, she was pulling me out of the water and all this began. All right, I'm going to have to ask you to get your daughter out of the water and clothed. Then we will have to talk to my manager. Finally, something is happening towards punishing this prevert. The lifeguard just winks at me. It was at this point I realized this guy already knew what actually happened. Doesn't intend to punish me. I had to go with him, cutting my night short, although it was worth it for the fallout. At the pool manager's office, she started yelling the moment we got in about how I was a prevert staring at her naked daughter. The lifeguard assaulted her. The police needed to be called, blah, blah, blah. The lifeguard then explained what happened from his point of view. I gave mine, then she gave hers. This is everyone's story. The lifeguard explained, I saw 2 people arguing, these 2, and from what I heard, she was mad because he was staring at her daughter or something. Then she pushed him under and held him down for a few seconds until I pulled her off. She started screaming about him being a peeper and staring at her naked daughter, and I asked what she meant. She had her daughter swimming naked in the pool. I explained that I was swimming underwater, and when I came up for air, I noticed there was a naked girl. I turned around because I felt awkward, and after a few minutes, I went back under. Then she came and pulled me out and started screaming. She basically just said what lifeguard said. Then she dunked me and got pulled off. Entitled mom went off. He stared at my daughter's lady bits, and when I tried to talk to him, he screamed at me. He tried to hit me, so I pushed him. Then the lifeguard came and pushed me and hit me, then screamed at me too, and the manager cut in. So how about we now check the cameras? Entitled mom, now suddenly flustered. No, that's not necessary. Let's just leave. The lifeguard cut her off. No. Let's just watch them so that we can get proof of him being a prevert. Lifeguard, great reasoning. Let's do it. After this, she got in trouble. Not for the naked thing. She really was just told not to do that again. No, she was in trouble for assaulting me. She's not allowed in there for a year, and the police were called. I was asked for a statement, and I told them what I told the manager. I was asked if I wanted to press charges. I said no. I'm only 16 and don't feel like having to enter the legal world, as well as I don't want to completely ruin this lady's life. She then screamed, "Frack you" at me, the manager, and the lifeguard. That was the last I saw of her. Those 2 guys are fracking legends. If you read this, love you guys. Thanks for reading my story. I know it was kind of long, but I really needed to vent. Bye. Update. A very kind Redditor has told me I can still press charges. I looked it up, and that is true. I have decided that I do want to be thrown into the legal world. I will be reaching out and seeing what I can do. I'll keep you guys updated. Update 2. That was fast. I am still able to press charges. Confirmed. I have to go to the police station. I'm getting ready to go now. Update 3. She was called into the station as well and flipped out. She's denying this, I guess. According to a police officer who reached out to me, I guess I'll be going to court. I'm still figuring this out. I guess I'll see. Update 4. She's been charged. With some legal help from the previously mentioned officer, she's got charged for assaulting me. Not sure if she's been arrested, but we got her. Update 5. She got arrested. Let's go. Edit 6. To clear up some confusion. We haven't gone to court yet, but from what I understand, if we do and I lose or we settle or something like that, the charges will be dropped. Not completely sure, but from my understanding, that's what will happen. I swim underwater with goggles on. As most people know, water fogs up over distances. However, I also do not swim the long way of the pool. I swim across it. So I did not close the gap between me and the child at all. The girl was near the mother when she tried to drown me, not sure if that was the intent. She kept her by her with a floaty, so the mother isn't completely hopeless. This is me repeating myself, but the mother didn't get into huge trouble for having her daughter naked. That was just a slap on the wrist and being told not to do it again. She got in trouble for holding me underwater. As I said in the previous one, I'm not sure if she was trying to drown me, but it was still assault. Hope this edit helped clear some things up. Oh, this guy is so lucky there were cameras. So lucky. He was about to have his entire life upended because a Karen got embarrassed and indignant after being unable to parent her own child. Am I off here? Naked children at the beach? Sure, but your local athletic pool? Is that normal? I also looked for the comments that convinced OP and thought it was so funny because it was just an offhand quippy comment which started it all. So you had the chance to ruin a Karen's life forever and you turned it down? OP's response: regrets, man, regrets. OP: just looked it up. Seeing as it has only been 2 days, I can still decide to press charges. Time to make a phone call. And now, on to our next story. Parents get upset that I sold a lawnmower they lowballed me on. Can't sleep, so I guess I'll share this dumb little ordeal. Last year, I obtained a riding lawnmower from a tenant who was planning on moving out. His landlord required that he clear everything out, of course, so he asked me and my grandpa for help to clean out his yard. We did so, and I came across an older Craftsman lawnmower. The lawnmower had been sitting for 8 years, so it was pretty weathered. All 4 tires were flat, it even had moss growing inside the headlight somehow. That all being said, the guy said I could have it for free, so I took it home with me that day. I ordered new tires for the front, the back ones just needed tubes, $70. I ordered a new headlight lens, $30. Got a new starter gear, $10. New carburetor, $20, and sharpened the blades and gave it a quick power wash, and surprisingly, it was actually really nice under all the dirt and mold. The mower deck was very solid, not a single rust hole, which is common on many lawnmowers after several years of use. Overall, it was extremely nice for a 27-year-old lawnmower. The engine was a 13.5 horsepower Briggs & Stratton internal combustion, a legendary engine. Its reliability is to be lauded. Despite sitting for 8 years, it was very easy to get it running. I had finally finished it up and my parents had taken notice. It was September of 2021, so nobody was buying lawnmowers, so it wasn't for sale at the time. Fast forward to March 1 of this year, I get the lawnmower started back up and tuned, ready for the spring. Once again, they take notice and want to buy it from me now. I listed the lawnmower for $400, definitely reasonable for the condition and amount of work and money that I put into it. The conversation went something like this. How much do you want for that? $400. Oh, you must be joking, right? No. Unbelievable. Why is that such a problem? Because you got it for free. There's no way I'm paying $400 for a lawnmower knowing that you got it for free. You seem to be forgetting that, 1, I put over $100 of parts and a whole day of work into it, and 2, it's my lawnmower and I can list it for however much I want, despite how much I initially paid for it. Well, we need to think about whether or not we really want it. Well, all right then, that's fine, but I'm not going to hold it for you. Whoever gives me $400 first gets it. Yesterday, I got a message from someone who was interested in the Facebook Marketplace listing I posted for it. He ended up buying it for the requested $400. Later that same day, I told my parents, the lawnmower sold, it's gone. But we wanted it. Why would you do that? Because you never told me of your decision, and because you didn't want to pay the asking price anyway. But we are family. You should have had more leeway with us. No, I shouldn't, especially with the way this has played out. I told you both that whoever gives me the cash first gets it, and you acknowledge that. You aren't entitled to cheaper pricing, mainly because I am not made of money like you. I have college payments, car repair bills, insurance, and registration coming up, and other subscriptions to pay for. It's gone. Done with. I got my requested $400 that you didn't think I should get, so I'm happy. End of dispute. And that was the end of it. The reason it was unexpected is because they have never been like this. I have never seen them so perturbed by something so ridiculous. I'm not sure many people here know a lot about lawnmowers and how much one in a certain condition is worth. But I assure you that one was worth every cent of $400 despite the condition it was in when I got it. Had I not needed the money, I would have kept it for myself. Yeah, knowing that I got it for free versus not knowing that can really affect how much it's worth to someone. But it doesn't matter. It was not in working condition when I got it, which is why it was free. When I was done fixing everything on it, it was in working condition. And it looked good as well, so here's a logical analysis. Making it actually do its job and do it well will significantly increase its value. What a surprise, right? Anyways, that's about it. P.S. I also know that I don't need my subscriptions, but removing them wouldn't even make a slight dent in my expenses. I would still be tight on money. Thanks for reading. Aside from the initial lowball comment from the dad, I'm not sure he was really all that entitled here. But OP was challenged in the comments and then posted a resolution as well, so let's check those out. I mean, you're kind of a D-bag for telling them you wouldn't hold it. They're your parents. You couldn't wait a day or two while they talked about it? OP. I told them I wouldn't hold it, and they acknowledged that. And knowing them, it wouldn't take a day or two, more like a week or two. That's just how they are. OP. Update. The parents have apologized. I'd like to believe it's genuine. I guess time will tell. And now for our final story, short but packed with the entitlement you love to see. I don't care about your medical emergency. Make my kid a balloon. On mobile and dyslexic. So, we were on vacation, my parents, me, and my husband. After a 12-hour drive and 6 hours of sleep, we go to breakfast. My dad is so nice and loves kids. He is a professional clown, so while waiting on his waffles, he starts making balloon animals for the kids. My husband and I had already sat with our own plates. I'm opening up my syrup pouch when a worker runs by and says to the front desk across the hall, "Call 911, a lady just fell." She was right near me when she said this, so I turned and my mom was on the ground. My dad was still making balloons because a wall blocked his view of the waffle station. I ran past yelling, "Mom!" As I passed him, I shouted, "Dad, Mom fell!" He stops making balloons and comes to check on his wife. Enter the entitled parent. Her kid was one of the ones that did not get a balloon because he stopped to check on his wife. While standing over his wife, the entitled parent comes up. "How dare you not make a balloon for my kid just because he has Down syndrome? You need to make him one now." My dad pointed to my mom on the ground. "That's my wife." The entitled parent said, "I don't care. Don't exclude my son." The ambulance had arrived, and I left to lead them to her while giving medical history to save time, and they pushed the entitled parent away to check on my mom. That ended the entitled parent as the other people at breakfast were giving her dirty looks and giving the whole situation a wide berth, except one lawyer I had to chase off and employees checking in on her. A few others came to check on her after. My husband overheard the exchange between the entitled parent and my dad and told me as things cooled down that he was behind entitled parent and her husband at one of the breakfast stations before my parents came down, and her husband called her Karen. I guess we were lucky she did not ask to speak to my dad's manager. Edit. My mom is fine. I told her she needs to make a doctor's appointment when we get back to find out why she fell. Edit 2. It's now hours later. She's been laying down and took a nap. We monitored her since she hit her head hard. She's still shaky. Geez, lady. There's literally a woman collapsed on the floor and your thought is, me. OP posted a few comments on the story explaining the collapse and a little more info about the lawyer they had to chase away, which I thought was pretty hilarious. OP. She has diabetes, one of the first things I told the EMS. They checked her blood. It was high in the 300s with no food. I'm not sure where high starts, causing blackouts, so not sure if that was the cause or not. One lawyer I had to chase off. Laugh my butt off. Tell me you're American without telling me you're American. OP. They were on vacation with their family visiting a work friend. They were trying to get us to go to him. He kept trying to get me to say she slipped. If you've enjoyed the story and would like to hear more, consider liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment. Thanks, and bye for now.